Saints now have, well, it's just short of 3 weeks off because of Leicester's progress in the FA Cup. Then, of course, there's the international break. We're next going to play on Good Friday at St Mary's. It's going to be Middlesbrough. Bit of extra time off. So let's just talk about the run-in in general and just preparations for that Middlesbrough game. Alfie, is there any word on what the club are planning? I assume they're not giving everybody a week off and heading off to Dubai for a couple of weeks of warm weather training. It's going to be...
Just me for that.
Everybody on the pitch at in Staplewood and working on some of the issues.
No, to be fair, I think they'll have a few days off next week, probably, I imagine, before everyone goes away for the internationals, just because it has been such a grueling running. And, you know, Russell Martin always sort of talks about how he doesn't get to see his kids and stuff like that. So I think he feels the pain of the players in that regard as well. So they'll have a few days. They've been trying to arrange a friendly match of some sort to go into next week as well. But I think Russell sort of told me that it's just been difficult because obviously everybody who is worth playing has games anyway, and it's such a busy time of year. So they'll have to replicate that in training, whether that means they'll do some under 21s and stuff. But yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a long time to work on a few things. And I mean, again, I don't know how many people will go away for the country, but you'd like to think they'll have enough time to come up with some stuff.
Glen, 10 games to go. I think 6 points adrift of second place. Leeds are obviously doing all right. You know, we've got the game in hand. We'll have another game in hand by the time we play again. What are your thoughts on the final run-in?
We've got a chance, obviously, if we win our games in hand, we're back in with a shout. But there is very little margin for error now. We kind of made a big dent in our own ambitions. With that little sort of like 3 or 4 game run where I think we lost 3 out of 4, didn't we? Won the West Brom game and lost the other 3. So that puts a bit of a dent in. Usually in the Championship you could get away with that, but not this year. As has been discussed many times, the pace of the top 4 has been ridiculous. So so there's got to be an element of hoping that the other teams have a blip as well. It seems to be the way that when you lose one, you lose another one. That seems to be the way it goes. So it'd be interesting to keep an eye on Ipswich over the next couple of weeks, because I mean, I think as we said, they got 1 win in 8 not so long ago. Then they won 6 in a row, and now they've just lost again. So hopefully they'll have a bit of a blip. We're waiting for Leeds to fall away. They've been absolutely relentless, bar one game that they drew. So if they keep that up from now to the end of the season, we'll have no chance of catching them. But we just have to hope that they do fall away a bit. Leicester are having problems at the moment, so it could all get very, very interesting. You could have 4 teams involved right to the end. Fixture pile up is against us, but we've got those 3 games. The 3 teams I mentioned, we got them all away from home. So lose a couple of those, and we'll be absolutely dead in the water. But if we could go to Ipswich and win, and then go to Leicester and win, then we're going to have every chance of being involved. But there are some, looking at the other games apart from those 3, I mean, just quickly, Borough, Blackburn, Coventry, Watford, Cardiff, Stoke, Preston. We're probably going to have to win all of those.
Yeah.
If not 6 and draw the other one, sort of thing. Yeah. We can't afford any Millwall type slip ups where we play a team that's average and throw it away. So so very little margin for error. Looking forward to it. I've kind of accepted now that we're going to be in the playoffs, but no, it's a defence mechanism. I clearly do not want to be in the playoffs. I want Saints to get promoted along with Ipswich, and I want Leeds and Leicester to have a playoff to see who's got the most arrogant fan base, and both of them get beat by Hull. So that's what I'd love to happen, but unlikely. So we've got it all to do, but it's in our hands, obviously, and those 3 massive away games against the teams around us are going to make or break it.
Interesting results at the weekend too, Steve. Obviously, I think I got to the ground just in time to see Cardiff equalise, and then their winner was probably one of the biggest cheers of the afternoon in the concourse. So as Glenn says, the others, there is the opportunity that they might drop a point there or 2.
Yeah, I mean, that was an extraordinary collapse by Ipswich, and it never at any stage looked likely until the 89th minute, when I think Kieran McKenna got a little bit kind of overthought it and took Kiefer Moore off, who was basically the outlet for if they wanted to sit back defensively. Okay, fine. We just play the ball up to him, and he'll hold it up, bring others into play, maybe win a few free kicks, run the clock down. Everyone's happy. Took him off and brought on a sort of small, diminutive attacking midfielder, and then didn't see the ball for the next 10 minutes, and the ball just kept coming into their penalty area, and it was weird that they get this corner in the 99th minute, I think it was, and that goal felt inevitable, despite the fact that Cardiff had basically offered nothing for like 89, 90 minutes. Having got the one back to equalise, Ipswich had no way of getting out. And I think McKenna I think you would imagine he'll look at that and probably hold his hands up and say, yeah, that's on me, lads.
But that gives us a bit of hope for the bank holiday Monday, doesn't it?
It does, certainly. And Ipswich themselves have been the masters of scoring the late goals. In fairness, all four of us up there have scored quite a lot in the last 10, 15 minutes of games. But Ipswich in particular have been scoring injury time goals. So for them to give up 2 in the way that they did should give us plenty of confidence, really, that they've got it in them to completely throw it away in any given game. So yeah, they'll be annoyed with that, having got themselves into such a strong position. And when you look at the situation now, we were back in September, October time, we were, I think, either 11 or 14 points behind Leicester. We win our game in hand. I know that game in hand is not going to be played for ages, but if we win that, then the gap is 6 points. We win at Leicester, the gap is 3. And all of a sudden, it's on, and you just never know. While Leeds look good at the moment, they're trampling on more or less everyone. There's still that's still a vulnerable team if you're willing and brave enough to attack it. We've seen that teams have attacked them and not taken their chances. Leicester being the prime example of that game a couple of weeks back, where they could have been 5-0 up in the last 15 minutes and not really worried about it, but didn't take their chances. And Leeds got the equaliser and then steamrolled them. Got the weight of the fan base at Elland Road behind them, and got them over the line. But they've shown enough vulnerability, I think, in enough games this season that, and also it's a 46 game season. You can't be perfect from start to finish, as Leicester are ably demonstrating now with their hopefully Devon Lock-esque stumble. There's one for the dads and granddads.
Look it up, kids.
Yeah.
Alfie, we talk about the fixture pile up at the end of the season, but I guess the flip side of that is if you're playing well, the team is picking itself, you've got the momentum, you want the games to come thick and fast. So could it work in our favour, maybe?
Well, when you ask the players, do you want to be Saturday to Wednesday, they all say yes. They don't like training. Obviously, nobody likes training. So from that perspective, it's for them to put the money where their mouth is, right? If you want to play it week in, week out, then do it. I don't think it's a massive positive. If I could choose to not have 10 games in 36 days and have maybe an extra 6 or 7, I would, to be honest. I think, because Glen alluded to it earlier, you've got people like Flynn Downs who are just so integral to the team. And if you lose him for 2 weeks, that's 4 games. And things look really different. So yeah, I'm not buzzing about the idea of playing 10 games in that time, but the players say they want to, so let's see what they can do.
It's a very long way away, but we need to do some score predictions for the Middlesbrough game, which is going to be on Good Friday. It seems crazy doing this far in advance. Steve, am I right in saying that you called 4 goals at the weekend?
I did.
We all laughed at you.
Everyone laughed, and yep, look.
So you would have a bit more thought if you'd have thought, actually, we'll probably let in 2 as well. You'd have nailed that. So I'm going to give you the honour of going first for the Middlesbrough game if you want to pick something out of your hat.
Middlesbrough kind of feel like they're in a not too dissimilar position to Sunderland now, in that kind of any ambitions of getting in the playoffs are probably gone. Unless they put a promotion worthy run together for the last 10 games or so, they're not going to be in the shake up of it. So I do wonder whether kind of inherently the manager's then looking at trying out different things, seeing who he wants to keep on for next season, and then you maybe get a little bit of a disjointed performance. I mean, many of their fans would probably argue they've been putting in disjointed performances for months. So it's one of those. But I think ultimately, with a 3-week break behind us, I mean, obviously some of the players are going to play internationally, but I think from a domestic perspective, a 3-week break helps us pretty nicely. I think in certainly going into that first sort of 2 or 3 games. Certainly the Easter weekend where we've got the game Good Friday and Easter Monday. I think that freshness is going to help us a lot. Hopefully gives us an advantage over the sides we play. So, I mean, I think you've got to be looking at winning out at home. Every game has got to be a win, and actually our goal difference could do with a little bit of a boost. Hopefully the time spent sorting out the defence, maybe it's a case of sorting out defensive selection as opposed to anything system related. And if we turn up at St Mary's on Good Friday and the team is kind of what I think we all would like to see it, then 3-0 home win, I think.
Ooh, nice.
I thought we was going to go with 4 goals again then. Glenn, do you want to go next?
Middlesbrough are kind of they're a team that kind of go under the radar for me. I don't really know much about them. I obviously know Michael Carrick is their manager.
Yep.
And it seems like a team in his image, really. Not terribly exciting, and they're going to be mid-table, as Steve said. They're not going to trouble the playoffs. They're not going to be anywhere near getting relegated. So hopefully they're. It might be a bit soon to have, be on the beach and have your eye on the summer sort of thing. But it certainly should be a team that, like Sunderland, we lost to them earlier in the season. And that was an abysmal performance. Another Mason Holgate inspired absolute dirge like the Sunderland 5-0 was. So hopefully we'll correct that one as well. Now we've got rid of him, and now we're a much better side. So I thought at the start of the season, after they beat us, I think, which was their first win, Middlesbrough went on a little run where they won sort of 6 out of 7 or something like that, and they looked like the sort of team that were going to, challenge the playoff places.
Well, they beat Leicester home and away.
Yeah, they've kind of sunk back.
No mugs.
That's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, but they've kind of sunk back into the pack now. So though they've won the last couple, so I'm. And Borough Breakdown beat us at the podcast awards as well. So we have them. They have Johnny Howson in midfield, who's knocking on a bit now. I've always quite liked as a player. So, but hopefully he doesn't have a good game. So with all that, and especially the Borough Breakdown thing, we need to get some revenge. So I'll go for a 3-1 win.
3-1 win. Alfie, we're going to avenge the defeat.
I hope so. I've looked at the 3 results from following international break this season already, and there's a 4-1 defeat, a 2-1 win, a 1-1 draw. So not really much to go off there. I was going to go 3-1 like Glen, but I will go a bit different this time because copying Glen doesn't usually work for me. So I'll go for a 4-1 win.
4-1 win. Okay. If you're watching live, by the way, put your predictions in the comments, and we'll share that on the socials as well.